Hello guys, good today, and welcome to Discord. So we're the Daniel Mullins Games Discord. Thanks for communicating usernames. That's really good. But anyway, we are playing. We are going to be checking out the whole ARG. First, we're headed to Pony Island. So first, we're going to be headed to the Unfound Secret, because this is always to a game that's coming out. So, hold on one second. Just check that real quick. So yeah, we're gonna start off with the Unfound Secret, which, by the way, probably made by Flaminade. So, it's up to him.
Hey, this probably isn't the game. Back from 2016. It's a thread called Secret Ending. Spoilers! The thread was all about the secret ending you get for collecting all the tickets, which I showed off in another video on my second channel if you're interested in that. Or if you need a refresher on the story of Pony Island, just go watch Macca Johnson's video where he does just that. He explains the story of Pony Island. But this thread is about that secret ending where you get to fight Hopeless Soul at the end of the game.
Yeah, this we've already done. It's super easy to do.
People were also showing off other cool secrets they had found in the game in this thread. And Daniel Mullins himself was popping in and congratulating these people on finding these secrets. But after most of the secrets in the game had been found, Daniel comes in with this message. I'm a little surprised. There's a secret with a good 4 to 5 clues hidden around that I haven't heard anyone talking about. And so you can't come in and say that and expect people to not freak out. So Barte here in this thread sees this and thinks they have a possible lead on what this secret could be. So they go and create their own thread called The Unfound Secret, where they're like, guys, Daniel Mullins said there's another secret that's been discussed, little to not at all. No one's found it. And Barte here's been trying to figure it out on his own. And so they come in with 3 different pieces of evidence on what they think this secret could be. And so we'll get started by looking at the first piece of Barte's evidence, which was this help.
So, yeah.
You look at it, it's just got all this binary crap on it, some messages underneath. And some people also noticed that when you first opened help.txt, there's a couple frames where it doesn't have the binary on it. So if we freeze frame on that, we can actually see what the messages were underneath this. So you can see stuff like, I have been trapped in this game for what feels like an eternity. Endless playing, endless testing. I am level 781092. Kill me. Both of those are backwards. But then there's blue text behind this white text that says on the top, never escape, never escape, never escape, never escape. And then at the bottom it says the development never ends and pony lasers are key. And so this hidden text looked like it could be a possible lead to something more. Like maybe this 781092 was something. Unfortunately.
Now the reason I'm looking into this stuff, because I could do this myself, but it freaks me out. Pony Island, I could have totally done that, but I've been kind of annoyed at it recently, and I just wanted to see how it could be redone it. Plus, I know some Discord ARGs are happening, so we're gonna go all the way until inscription, and so we can learn the entire story. Then after inscription, I know a bunch of them came out, and this is the prep for another game, which has been already teased in trailer's been out, so everyone else is coming up, and I've seen it before, but I just want to see this entire story fold out.
Unfortunately, though, this really didn't lead to anything. But it was only the first piece of evidence that Barte brought to this thread. The rest of the evidence was way more important. Which leads me to the next one, which was this hidden message on the corrupted profile. You can't really see it well because it's faded and also upside down. But if I do a little flipperoo here, and then reverse it because it's backwards, it says, his father pure evil, which is a phrase that also pops up in other places in the game. Like on the Act 3 desktop, you can also see it in the bottom right corner. And I gotta do some movie magic here to brighten this up a bit because it's super dark and you can barely even see it. But keep this phrase in mind as we go to look at Barte's third piece of evidence, which was this here on the advanced options menu here. So if you go to advanced options, you can find security settings, which the stuff on the left, who cares about parental controls and allowing to die on Earth? That's not important. What's important is this over here. It's your boy Binary, everyone's favorite. And this on the top, people thought this was a secret message, but I think it's just gibberish. It's just random keys on the keyboard. But if we translate the binary, it says audio top right. And conveniently, if we go back, there was this advanced audio tab. So if we go here, if we go to the top right of the menu here, there's a hidden binary square that appears if you like scroll your mouse over, and if you click it, you'll hear a familiar phrase.
It's not even.
So that's the third time we've seen this phrase so far. So it's gotta mean something, right? And people speculated this was some kind of like passcode you could use, and they also knew you can say passwords to Baphomet, right? So some people tried this and put in his father, pure evil, and found that Baphomet will tell you he exists, but I am not he. Well, okay, so there's some father that exists, and Baphomet is not the father? That's all we got. And funnily enough, this is all there was to this secret too. It was just meant to be a couple hints about Satan's father, the father of all mythological evil characters. There was really nothing more to it than that. It was just a fun bit of world building that Daniel threw in. But even though this was the end of the secret, some people were still caught up on that audio that played on the options screen. It did sound a little strange, so people started searching for secrets within it. They first tried spectral analysis of the audio, which apparently revealed a black line or something. I don't know, I don't really see anything here. And people also reversed the audio, hoping to find some hidden backwards message in it. And reversing the audio sounded like this, which people interpreted as a beeper perhaps. And now, a couple hours go by, and suddenly Imaria pops into this thread and mentions an interesting entry in the prog list. A beeper 1132%. Now Barte sees this and confirms that it exists, but they also wonder how they missed this. It's super obvious in the prog list, and surely someone had checked this screen before, right? So how did people miss this? Well, let's come back to Daniel Mullins real quick. So the whole time this hunt's been going on, Daniel's been keeping a close eye on this thread because he wants to see people find this secret that he started this hunt for. But once he saw how deep people were going into this secret, he knew it wouldn't be nearly enough to satisfy these secret hunters. So he did something a little sneaky. He actually patched in more to this secret and snuck it in alongside some other minor bug fixes during a normally scheduled patch. So that's why this Beeper 1132% was such a confusing find. It didn't actually exist until this patch on January 9th, 2016. And if you check the dates in the thread, you'll see that Imaria and Barte found it just a few hours after this patch. But back to this Beeper 1132% thing. What does it actually mean? Well, we've got this chat window up here, so maybe we can ask Hopeless Soul about it? Hey dude, what's up with this Beeper 1132% here? Oh, First Kings speak the name of my servant to Lord Baphomet? Huh, interesting. So I get the second part of this, just speak the name of my servant to Lord Baphomet, but whose servant are we even talking about here? I don't know. But back to this First Kings thing. That's a book of the Bible, isn't it? So maybe this is a Bible verse? First Kings 11:32? So let's go over here to good old Bible Gateway and slap in First Kings 11:32, which says, "But for the sake of my servant David and the city of Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, he will have..."
So also the mention is Hopeless Soul. He says that. But if you actually explore the game, you soon realize that Hopeless Soul is not who he says he is. As you can see right there. Hopefully this one explains it. If not, I can explain it here.
One tribe. And so that right there, servant David, speak the name of my servant to Baphomet, so my servant David. And so now if we go back over to Pony Island and go back to Baphomet, and we say the name of my servant, which was David. Oh, let me capitalize that name. Might be important, probably not. We say David. In death you still seek Jerusalem. You have chosen the wrong gate. You have chosen the wrong gate. What gate are we talking about here? Well, some folks did some digging around in the game files and they found this image. It appears during one of the flashbacks you get from Baphomet, and people actually identified it as the Golden Gate of Jerusalem, the only one of Jerusalem's 8 gates that remains closed to this day. And since Baphomet referred to Jerusalem here, people assumed this Golden Gate of Jerusalem was the wrong gate that the quote was referring to, which would mean that one of the other 7 gates of Jerusalem would be the correct gate. So people started looking for clues in the other 7 gates of Jerusalem, like there was David's gate, which people assumed was also important because of the whole name of my servant David thing. They also found Herod's gate, which is also referred to as the flower gate. So maybe that has to do with the flowers and the butterflies section of the game. I don't know. There's a lot of options here, but this seems like it could take a moment to solve. So I'm going to check back in on this later. But around the same time this gate hunt was happening, another person enters this thread, the Great Swami. They come in with some additional information, hoping to find some new leads in this hunt. And one of these was really interesting. Apparently saying I am error to Hopeless Soul returns this weird string. So if I go over here and type I am error to Hopeless Soul, he'll return... Wait, whoops, that's not right. That's an ad for my second channel, Flimbons, where I've been streaming a bunch lately. We've been having a ton of fun with Casey's mod and a bunch...
Okay, shut up.
That entering I am error in the chat when you're talking to Hopeless Soul results in this. It's gibberish. ASDIJOAFS001AKJS0:L. It's gibberish, but you may have noticed the noise that came from when I entered I am error. Maybe it'll do it again. That's not Hopeless Soul's normal voice, right? Normally, Hopeless Soul has that, but that was like a weird. And this kind of brings me into another side secret within this secret. It was something totally separate from this secret that just happened to be found in the same thread, but it involves editing registries outside of the game. So I'll pull up regedit here so I can show you what I'm talking about. So this is regedit. It's where you go to edit your registries, and registries are just low-level storage that Windows uses to like store configurations and settings for your OS. But Pony Island also happens to use them to keep track of your game's save. And so Pony Island's keeping track of different things like how many times you failed at Asmodeus, how far you progressed on them, broken locks, questions asked to Baphomet, etc. You can go on forever. But one of these stands out. It's this one right here. Do not set to 1. It sounds like a big warning, and it also sounds like it's asking to be set to 1. So if I modify it, we can just set it to 1 in hex, which is just 1. And then we boot the game back up, and we see what happens. Oh, hi Satan. Tampering with the save data? I see. Oh, you expected me to be impressed? Well, congratulations, I guess, I suppose. Now, if you aren't here to bequeath your soul, then get lost. Oh. Did that just like reset it? Guess we're back to the main menu. But that's actually not where this secret ends. You can keep going and continue to change the registry, and you'll get different cutscenes if you change it to different values. So people found you could change it to 666, which is 29A in hex. Yep, 666. And so if we boot that up, since that's Satan's number, we hit continue and we get a new cutscene. Oh, he's back. His father pure evil, his father pure evil, his father pure evil, his father pure evil. It's like Satan had to go to detention and write this phrase 100 times on the board. But that's one of these. And there's one more though, and this is the one I wanted to show off that is important to that message we got from Hopeless Soul earlier. So for this last one, you need to change it to 2 to get one final cutscene. So I'll do that, and we move back over to Pony Island, and we hit continue to get our last cutscene here. Hi, Satan. Very clever. So I'll tell you a secret. Sometimes I like to speak or I like to talk in other voices. Don't tell Dad. So if you couldn't tell, he was speaking in the voice of the Hopeless Soul. So this just throws a whole wrench in the story here, that Hopeless Soul was Satan all along and just messing with us. And also, by deleting the game, which me being stupid, I just wanted to see what would happen, and I deleted the game, so my bad on releasing Satan out into the wild. That's a big oopsie on my part, and I'm sure a bunch of other people did it. But deleting the game releases Hopeless Soul, who is also Satan. And so that's why I thought it was interesting when you entered I am air into the chat window, it plays Satan's voice instead of Hope was Soul, which was hinting at Hope was Soul's true identity. But that was just a quick side note that I thought was pretty cool. But back to that weird string you get for entering I am air in the chat. It's not super relevant right now, but people noticed it and were wondering if it was some kind of cryptogram or clue. But sadly, it didn't really lead to anything at the moment. But I'll explain what it actually meant at the end of this. And so now that that side note is over, let's see if anyone's found any leads on this correct gate of Jerusalem thing. And it looks like we've gotten nowhere. All right, cool. This whole thing with finding the correct gate was super cryptic, and people were digging really deep to hopefully find some answers somewhere. But then a gift from the heavens arrives in the form of user Cats Pretend They're Smart. They come in and say, hey, y'all are overthinking this. The quickest way to make no progress on a puzzle is to assume that everything is riddles within riddles. And sometimes a gate is just a gate. You're overthinking it. So this person must have figured out how to solve this gate part and was saying very literally, it is just a gate. And so if we look around in Pony Island, where was there some kind of gate? There were gates in part 3 in the butterflies section. There were gates that you opened. But one that a lot of people overlook is over here in Act 1, where there's actually another gate that's very, very subtly hidden. And it's hidden in the options menu here in the advanced options section. So if I get to that, go to advanced options and we click it, and you can kind of look at the background, right? You see it. There's this door structure in the background, and this is our gate. But we don't know how to open it currently. So how do we open it? Well, this was something that people actually stumbled onto a few days after the secret hunt had ended, but it has to do with Baphomet again. People found out that if you typed his father pure evil into Baphomet again, it'll change the chat history function, but I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm just gonna say hello. I'll go wrong, back, and so we leave. And so if we go over here to advanced options, we can see our chat history here. If you like close this window, you go to chat history, you can see like my chat there. But people found out that if you go over here and you type his father pure evil, he exists, but I am not he. Yes, I know. We've seen that many times. But advanced options, security settings, chat history. Look at that. That's not what I typed. What the heck? What could that mean? That's binary. You know what we're doing. We're translating that. And it comes out to be useless bottom right. Which, what does that mean, right? Useless bottom right. Well, in the advanced gameplay here, there's these old prototype options, and then there's the really useless options. So it was what? Useless bottom right? So if we scroll on over here to the bottom right, oh, you see that? There's a little arrow, and guess what that arrow does? It opens the gate. And so now that the gate is open, we can go back to Baphomet, and we can type in our key, which is David, and this is the end of this secret, and so we'll see what happens. I have shown you your past, but you, your future. Ooh. Familiar ukulele as usual. Waking up in the little arcade. But wait, that's not Pony Island. It's Pony Island 2, Panda Circus, the sequel that never came out. I think it was just meant to be a teaser for a potential Pony Island 2, but that was what lied at the end of the secret hunt. And it was a neat little hunt. It was the first major Daniel Mullins secret hunt on Steam, at least. So I thought it was cool to go back through this and see the roots of him putting together these super in-depth puzzles. But I did mention earlier that there was one part of this hunt that wasn't really relevant at the time, and I'd revisit it later. It was that weird string like ASDIJIO, you know, that big string when we put I am error into the chat log. But I did a little digging around and just looked at that string in Asset Studio again, and it's just the name of the assets. It's called Pony Island 2 Panda Circus. But people thought this was like some kind of cryptogram, and I actually reached out to Daniel Mullins and asked like, was this anything or was this just like a total red herring? And I think his answer was, I think I just like smashed my keyboard. And that was it, and just copied that name and made it the secret name. So nothing, no deep lore, deep puzzle that nobody missed there. And that's really the end of the Pony Island secret hunt. I thought it was cool and worth showing off, and I think it's neat seeing.
So yeah, that was released the first secret. Now, of course, to Pony Island 2, which, like I said, has been released, all that stuff, so that was the first teaser. Then we head to the hex. Now, let me go find this real quick. So here's the document people wrote up for the hex secret ending. So, let's do that. Find the cipher. See the jar, yep. Finding Chanterelle when you go fishing, which is a Charon thing, which you can find a coin somewhere. But you get this text right here. Here, I'm trying to screen this. You get this text right here. My mouse can't highlight real well as I wish it could, but this text. Then this is a cipher. He started working. Most games are working in ciphers, which is pretty strict. So they had to figure that one out. So yeah, in 1337 speak, it's a sarsaparilla, so that's fine. You just gotta fill in the X's. And then this was found during the PUBG section. Apparently, if you were in the PUBG, or what I call the Zombs.io section or whatever, or Sprout.io, you could press down B for the Falcon Kick command, which would make you fall through the floor, and it would give you some letters, which you can turn into numbers. Oh, because it's crash, CRS, crash. Oh, crash achievements. CRSH, crash, and then achievements. Achieves. So yeah, if you line up all the achievement stuff, which I noticed that was weird, but that was fine. If you line them up in order, you get it what's up top. Then the next one. In Soul, you duplicate the rest of the ball in Soul. The trigger upgrade changes. In which it would change to 2734 to total Soul's line. Password Point Island, which is interesting. And lucky you have to have this up. The cipher file. Part of the contract. Okay, so this is a different game where you go fishing. Oh, I don't know yet. Yeah. So you type in the cipher. Changes this. Considerations are made by a signer under this argument as assignee will consider XXX as the DVL equals that much dollars. So DVL equals $66. And the last part says Sado51. Be Carl's character. Yep, just like that. Then Fish's Galaxy. You can fish up the second block at half. So if you fish off in the first, in Alexandria or whatever, and then you can find the second locket in the game work where you were killing all developers. And then walk through a wall, a little off section to find Wizaro, who will say the Westworld. Talking to him, and Locket will offer to translate, but he says he needs a cipher. Of course, the cipher we just found, you can now just gotta create a file called cipher.cipher and drop it in the same data game folder. And then when you talk to him, he'll translate the Locket to Wizaro. Hey, I don't think so too great initially. Now C and L. And C's been quiet. They're gonna be friends. Okay, I need a favor. Like how to speak, can you just get to a game? Maybe one of your own? You always want to make that fishing game. The file is part complete. What the hell is this, Lionel? Please, promise me. Promise me. Remember, kids, you used to swing on that swing you every time you got out of defense? Okay, enough of that. I'll hide your QB files elsewhere. I gotta go, and I'm blocking you. Now, we know L is Lionel. Who is C? Well, it would be anyone else but Clara. Or Carla. Because I don't want to fit. Then, and you had to find. You go outside the game beneath the surface, and then it'll kill for your first game published by Carla 51. So, let's try out. That looks really weird with the glare. Wow. But it's time for beneath the text file translate into type Lionel.exe. So, we're going to look at a video of that because I don't want to scare myself here. Alright, here we go.
Oh, nice. Alright, that's enough of that. Final.exe, GameWorks executable installation.
This is Lionel Snill. I'm recording this because I've... This is crazy, right? Speaking to a video game character? Come on. Well, here it goes anyways. I've seen some things lately that made me think. What if the characters that I've created live somehow? Like, in some way, they know who I am. It's probably nonsense, just some trolls on the GameWorks forums getting the better of me. But in the case that the stories they tell are true, and the really unlikely case, I think I would owe one of my characters an apology. No one else knows this, but Super Weasel Kid was not my first game. I actually made this really janky root beer game when I was even younger. The only thing I liked about it was the main character, Root Beer Reggie. I made him look like a younger version of my grandpa. Then, after my grandpa passed, I still had Reggie. I don't know what I was thinking, but when Super Weasel Kid was almost done, I figured that I'd ought to delete the old root beer game. I guess I thought it looked better if my very first game was something great. Like I was some kind of prodigy. Irving handled deleting the files. I couldn't bear doing it myself. He told me that Reggie would be exported to a different game, but I never saw him again. Well, if you're out there somewhere, Reggie, I still miss you.
Too little, too late, Lionel.
Agreed.
Too little, too late. Programmer? I for one accept my overlords. Yes, 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 yes.
Interesting. We'll be in the next video. So yeah, when that's actually what happens. He confused me, but that's because of Sato.
Important thing we learn is that Lionel wasn't this completely soulless asshole that we see during the Hex. He was aware that he had wronged Reggie by trying to hide his first game, and so he recorded this apology to hopefully right that wrong. Unfortunately, it was too little too late because at this point Reggie had already gone through with his plan to murder Lionel, but it's at least a little comforting to know that Lionel wasn't this evil monster that everyone made him out to be. And then there's the bit at the end where the game crashes to desktop and installs some kind of malware called Sato.exe. Now, this doesn't actually give you a virus, but it's Sato's way of spreading her influence and infecting any computer that runs Lionel.exe. And it shows how Sato is influencing the real world now that she's escaped from the Hex. And interestingly enough, Beneath the Surface isn't the only game that's been infected with Lionel.exe. Daniel Mullins released another game in 2020 called Solipsis as part of the second DreadX collection. And if you type Lionel.exe on the main menu of that game, you get a similar result. So Sato is using Lionel.exe to infect other games, but it's not really clear what Sato's goal is at the moment or what this infection does. And maybe that's something we'll learn in a future Daniel Mullins game. But for now, all we know is that Sato is out there infecting other games with Sato.exe. There's also some things in this sequence that are a little more speculative, but I felt they were worth talking about. The first was Lionel's grandfather. Lionel mentions that he modeled Reggie after his grandfather Reginald, and coincidentally, we know another character that shares that name from Inscription, Barry Reginald Wilkinson. He was a spy who had acquired a copy of the Carnoffel Code and smuggled it across the...
I'm not gonna go into that, but yeah, that is a connection which I do when I play the description, we will find that. But I think this is where this ends. But yeah, huge thing to the people in Discord. They are like the multi-game Discord, really good. Like again, huge credits to these. Huge credits. Like they're really good. And yeah, like I said, I wanted to review those two new endings, and then I want to play through Inscription. Like I feel like Inscription is like a long play, the longest game in the series right now. We don't know how long I don't think it's gonna take, but Inscription takes a very long to complete. As you saw, I beat actually a little less than like 4 hours. Actually, no. Here, we can check my Steam. 6 hours. 6 hours took me to go through this game. Like, I haven't completed everything yet, but I don't think I want to for the time being. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, Sato is corrupting games with Lionel.exe, which is probably or just renaming stuff. But yeah. If you guys liked the video, please try out me just reviewing the ARG up to this point, and we're gonna go further once we, I hope to go further once we complete the description. See you guys next time. Before I leave, thanks to everyone, and like I said, check out their channels. I might link them down below. I don't think so. You should, though, just join the channel's Discord and just give credit where credit's due. They really, it's covered that's all. And yeah, see you guys next video.